Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Chris with Inside the U. Just got done with the press conferences with Coach Cristobal, as well as both coordinators, Shannon Dawson and Corey Heatherman. Some big news came out with Coach Cristobal revealing that they're going to be without three guys. They're expected to be without at least three key starters. Mark Fletcher, running back, who exited the game early last game, he's going to be out, as well as wide receiver CJ Daniels, missing his second straight game, and then cornerback OJ Frederick also going to be out in this one. At least, Coach Cristobal said they could be out a couple weeks. So we'll see if they're able to bounce back next week when Miami has their last home game of the season against NC State, which the ACC has announced will be a 3:30 kickoff. But going back to Fletcher, with Fletcher out, again, it relies on Marty Brown and Jordan Lyle. And if they're going to go to a third back, to me, I think it would be Gerard Pringle Jr., the freshman there, if he can get in the mix. But certainly I think it's going to rely on Brown and Lyle in this game. And then wide receiver with Daniels out again, I think you're going to see JoJo Trader once again have an elevated role. And he's looking to kind of continue on some of the success that he had last game, but certainly everybody saw that drop that led to an interception, which led immediately to a touchdown. Just with Frederick out, they're just going to continue to go with what they have there with those other four corners, obviously in the nickel spot with Keontae Scott, but those other three guys there on the outside with Ethan O'Connor, in addition to Xavier Lucas and Damari Brown. So I don't think that's as big of a loss in terms of their depth, and it doesn't change a whole lot there with the loss of Frederick, but certainly disappointing because OJ's a guy that they believe in. So those are the big news items of the press conference. Another thing to pay attention to, and we'll see how it shakes out, but Coach Dawson said changes will be made, kind of alluded to the fact with the offensive line and some of the things that he saw there. So again, not into great detail in terms of that, but we'll see how it all shakes out with the offensive line. As I mentioned immediately after the game, highly disappointing with all of the penalties to all six of those top offensive line. Every one of them had a penalty in that loss to SMU. So just in general, I thought Dawson and Heatherman did a good job of explaining some of the issues and some of the things that didn't go right with their side of the ball in that loss to SMU. And then Coach Cristobal, he addressed some things. There wasn't anything glaring that stood out to me in terms of all of the comments other than the status updates. And really, and I think you guys understand this or believe this, that, it's nice to hear some of the things that the coaches have to say, but at this point, there's not a lot to be said. They've got to show it. They've got to go out and do it and essentially finish strong. 4 games left in the regular season. We'll see even if they were able to win the games, how things will kind of shake out. But Coach Cristobal did mention that it feels like there's a dozen teams or so kind of essentially still in that battle for those spots there, the playoff spots. So I'm sure he's relaying that, and hopefully the players understand what's at stake with these games. So a lot to clean up, both sides of the ball. They've got to play much better. I asked Coach Cristobal, his thoughts on essentially this team not playing its best football this time of year, given the magnitude of the game. And here's what he had to say about that, and essentially also how to correct it these final 4 games.
Yeah, the details have been the big difference. We have lost in the margins of the game, right? The short yardage opportunities that we came up short in. That's everything. That's coaching and playing. Some of the penalties that I've heard are drives, not let us finish our drives. That's coaching and playing. A communication lapse, and these are opportunities that when you're playing conference football, you don't get them back. You don't. Is it a lack of effort? Absolutely not. I think it's very evident this team's always going to fight all the way to the very end, no matter what. But the margins we were winning in early in the season, in a couple of games this year, we have slipped up on this. That was in the details. And we were going to work hard and find a way to get those details back, play Hurricane football, and get it done.
And another thing that I want to add that I think is a huge issue that needs to be corrected immediately is this 4-11 record under Coach Cristobal in games played in November and December. That's simply not good enough. It's not what you want at all. It has to be corrected because these games are so important for a program, for a team to win games and to have a successful season. So it has to be corrected. 4 games ahead of them at least for what Miami has moving forward in this month of November. And we'll see if they can get it corrected and finish strong. But certainly, based on years past, I understand that there's a lot of doubts, and he's got to be able to answer these questions because this trend cannot continue at the rate it's been so far. You heard what Coach Cristobal had to say. Certainly they believe they've got to clean things up and pick up the pieces if Miami's going to finish strong the rest of the way. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Have a good rest of the day and take care.